I'm speaking with Kay Sena, who wrote the profile of Michael Savage in The New Yorker, and I really encourage you to go out and buy it. I don't make any money from it, and Mr. Sena doesn't make an additional royalty if you buy it. The reason is I want the world to know that conservatives read, because I think there's a general misconception that conservatives drag their knuckles and don't read. That they don't read anything except perhaps the Gun Digest, which I read. I like gun magazines, but not to the exclusion of anything else. If you have a question or a comment, this is your one shot in life to ask it of our guest right here on the Savage Nation. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. Here's a caller out of Los Angeles, KGIL. Tom, go ahead, please. You're on the Savage Nation.
Yes, hello, Michael. Pleasure to speak with you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I went to go pick up the article in Encino, Barnes & Noble's. Really excited after you've been talking about it for so many weeks. And having it in my hands, taking it home, opening it up, and finding out that the middle section of the magazine was completely torn out.
Now, we could look at that one of two ways. A fan who was poor stole it because they read Abby Hoffman where he said steal this book. Or they ripped it out because they hate my politics. Which one do you think it is?
Well, initially I thought it was because they hated your politics. So when I went in there today to exchange it, which I got a good copy, I looked through all the other copies and they were full. So I happened to think maybe somebody really wanted to read the article and they couldn't afford the magazine for whatever reason. All
right, not a bad call. Very interesting. Do not rip the article out of a magazine. Buy the darn thing. Kay, can you stay with us for a couple of minutes?
Sure, of course.
We're speaking with the author of Party of One in The New Yorker, Kay Sena, right here on the Savage Nation. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. We'll be right back.
Eloquent in their own way.
Armstrong and Getty. Weekday morning, 6 to 10. Talk 910 KNEW.
The form of Savage's show, the quick cuts from one topic to another, the way familiar political observations give rise to baffling digressions, the fluctuating tension between his blue state life and his red state message. Turn off the music. Is at least as important as its content, which means that it's hard to understand him and his appeal at second hand. The immoderate quotes meticulously cataloged by the liberal media watchdog site blankety blank, insofar as they reduce a willfully erratic broadcast to a series of political brickbats, are accurate but misleading, says the author Kay Sena, who wrote the profile of Michael Savage in The New Yorker, which I recommend you go out and buy. Let's go to Medford. Jenny, quickly. You're in Medford, Oregon. What's your comment?
Dr. Savage, I'm a huge fan, and I packed up my two little babies and drove 20 miles to the local Barnes & Noble, and when I got there, they were completely sold out. So I just want to let you know you have a huge following in Medford.
God bless you. Thank you very much. You see that, Sena? Your magazine, your editor should be very proud of you.
And we've just learned it. We've apparently from the caller before that, we learned how people could save $4.99 and just
no, don't do the Abby Hoffman. They're liable to go out and do that. Oh God. Okay, let's go to line 5. Trip in Chicago. Quick comment.
Hi, I was wondering if Mr. Sena had any comment or opinion on the state of the mainstream media, particularly printed, if he thought it was generally balanced.
That's an easy question. Kay, care to comment?
I think it's almost impossible for any newspaper or magazine to be balanced, let alone the media as a whole.
That's absolutely true. In other words, how many times have I said the same thing? I admit that I'm subjective, and I admit that I'm biased. I mean, I try to support my positions with facts or any kind of persuasion I can come up with, but fundamentally, this is a medium of subjectivity. There's nothing objective or scientific about what people think.
And I think that a big part of what's changed over the last few decades is that people who feel that way, detect that bias, have so many more options now and so many other places to go to and so many other voices to listen to.
Next caller. Yeah, you're right, and that's why people think that the other guy is biased, because they see many other opinions on the internet. Fort Lauderdale. Ed, welcome to the Savage Nation. Question, a comment from Mr. Sena.
Question is for Mr. Sena. Mr. Sena, I understand your parents are professors and everything, but is there anybody in your family that actually that reminds you of Dr. Savage with any that shares any of the same views?
a good question. I think when I listen, it's funny when I listen to him, I can imagine that, but to be honest, none of my relatives really live in this country, so I don't have the experience that a lot of other people have of talking to their uncle or someone at a family picnic or something. So,
isn't your father a theologian?
Sorry, say that again?
Isn't your father a theologian?
He's a historian of religion.
Okay. And that's very interesting. So, but he studies what, African religions or Christianity? Which one?
He studies Christianity and Islam. Mainly.
Okay, but when you were a child, I don't want to delve too much into your personal life, but when you were a child, would your father read to you from both the Quran and the Bible?
No, it wasn't like that. But certainly, I think I would like to think that he, taught me how to think critically about things and have that kind of a perspective. But I wouldn't. It's what he does. He's like a serious scholar. And I'm very self-conscious that I'm a guy who writes for a magazine, which is a job I like, but a very different sort of job.
We're out of time, and I recommend everyone listening to the show who enjoys the Savage Nation and who loved hearing the honest voice of the author, Kay Sena, who wrote Party of One for The New Yorker. Go out and buy it. You're a wonderful young guy, Kay, and I wish you a tremendous career ahead of you. Thank you very much for treating me fairly.
Thanks for everything, and thanks for talking to me.
Michael Savage. Afternoons 3 to 7 on Talk 910 KNEW and online at 910KNEW.com.